Good morning, friends. It's good to be here this morning. I'm happy to be sharing this practice with you here at Journey Home Meditation. Woo. Abrupt. All right. Smooth. We are smooth as glass this morning. All right. Just going to take a moment to settle my body and be with a few breaths. How is your practice going? I'm curious. I share a lot of these practices with people, but I don't actually, shockingly enough, get an opportunity to discuss these practices with people very much. And I'm curious. I'm curious what ways you have found shift in what you otherwise believed to be a static personality. I know that there were a lot of things about my personality that I always believed to just be part of who I am. And I think that's true for a lot of us. I think a lot of us spend a lot of energy defending these parts of our personalities as pieces of who we truly are. And I recognize that even now, there are moments when I fall into that loop of thought that this expression of myself right now, this expression that I'm experiencing in this whatever situation it is, a difficult situation that's frustrating, my expression in any moment would be different. And in the moments, especially when I am feeding a feeling of injustice or that I am being unheard or unseen in some way, I have an expression to sort of double down on that way of thinking about the situation. The way, maybe I'm not being clear. I get into a belief that I am somehow being disenfranchised by someone else, or how could you treat me this way? This thing. I am worth far more than this. And I recognize because of this practice now that when that comes up for me, it does feel like I have these different personalities that are completely separate entities inside of my body. And something takes over sometimes that becomes very forceful or very indignant or very separate. the individual wants to come forward. And then I have this sort of tug of war inside of my body of the part of me that wants to be jovial and light and easy, and the part of me that wants to insist upon things the way that I want to see them happen. And for whatever reason, these two things are in opposition or contrary forces. Even if the thing that I want to see happen is joy on a deep level. Nobody wants to spend time with themselves in turmoil and uh, you know, having an internal argument, let alone spending time with the people we love in turmoil and argument, or the people that we uh, would like to be in deeper relationship with, friends, acquaintances, co-workers, whatever it is. I don't think that at our core, what we would like is to have conflict. And yet, there seems to be this character that I carry. And I'm curious if others carry these characters too, and I can only imagine that you do. This character that insists upon certain levels of conflict in our life. And so I'm curious how your practice is accommodating, giving space to that character. In what ways can we create the loving environment where even that part of us has its space? Because the thing that I think that character, that role that is inside of me is playing is the person who is struggling for space, to be seen, to be heard, to be felt, to be loved and accepted. But the struggle is what makes it difficult for the other characters in me to want to be loving and kind and accepting. So I have internal arguments of, you really should just calm down and relax and have a good time. And then the other side is, but things aren't right and we need to make things right. And there's this embroiled battle, and it does lead me into these places of like very tender, sensitive, even irritable ways of being. And I find that it really does come the more that I am trying to be giving, trying to be open, trying to be kind, that I'm finding now this is the tug of war. The harder one thing pulls, the harder the other thing pulls, and then we're really going at it. We're really digging our heels in to hold our ground. Because in both cases, there's an idea of what things should look like. There's an idea of how I should be, the ways in which I should be responding, reacting, feeling about something. There's all these prescribed notions that I may be carrying at any moment. And I'm wondering, in what ways can this practice of awareness, compassion, openness. In what ways can this create space even for that? Can there be this and that at the same time? Or is there a deeper plane of awareness that says there is no this and that? There is only all. There's only all of it. There's never a time when it's not all of it. And so then the informed mind wants to be this certain way, right? This is the way we need to be. And therefore, when I start focusing on that, then I say, this is the way you need to be. And I don't say that out loud because that's not the way that I need to be. I don't need to be the one who says out loud what you need to be, but there is a belief underneath it all that's saying if I need to be a certain way, then that means you need to be a certain way. And I will forever be dissatisfied. So long as I think that there's something other than what is that needs to be rejected, if there's something other than what I need to reject right now, then I'm never going to be satisfied. Maybe. But it gets confusing because then we're met with the questions of, what does that mean that we just allow for blah, blah, blah? Does that mean we just allow for violence? Does that mean we allow for aggression? And I don't believe that unconditional love is the same thing as justification of something. When I can move into a space where I love myself and this experience and everything that makes up that experience of self right now, it doesn't require me to justify or not justify the things that are happening. It's beyond justification. It's when we get stuck in the justifications that we are already participating in certain levels of conflict. And God, that sounds just so it's so close to spiritual bypassing, right? It's icky a little bit. So where is there that where is the way that we can understand this level of being? Does acceptance of the fact that I am going to throw a fit or that I threw a fit the same thing as justification of the fit that I threw and the behaviors that I had? And I don't believe it is. But it's accepting the fact that, hey, I love you. And because of my love, I am able to understand that what you did when you were surviving. Even if I don't want it to be so. But the solution there is not separation from and condemnation of, but the solution there is recognition of, to recognize, recognate, to bring back into my awareness. I recognize you. I recognize this. And so often we're seeking validation for the justification of hatred because that's what we feel in that moment. We so profoundly pained by something that the only thing that we can think in that moment is how much this thing needs to not be. So then the conundrum becomes, when we're stuck in that dichotomous way of thinking about the world and ourself and our own expressions, how do you both love something unconditionally and hold it accountable, hold it responsible? How do I love myself unconditionally and with accountability? Because I think it's important that I recognize that my pain is my awareness of my disconnection. And my disconnection is not true on a deep level. There is no way that I can be disconnected, right? On a deep level. Where would I be? Where would you be? We're sharing this plane of existence. We are a part of this moment in time and space. We are this shared expression of God. We are this possibility of love. So there's no way we could be separate. It's not possible. And still, I develop a belief that I am disconnected. I justify this belief with all of these ways of thinking about my interactions. People only want me for this thing. And then you get into the poor me, woe is me, nobody loves me. Guess I'll go eat worms. Or the other side of that is, everybody wants me for this thing. Look at that. I'm so special. Both of these things are disconnected in their belief. The belief of those things are disconnected, as if it is you, the you that you think you are in that moment, that is doing the things. That it's you in that moment. That thing of you is what is so special and important. It's so special and important that it either gets praised or it gets punished. Um, but the practice is allowing for the expression of everything to be part of the whole. This is what is being expressed right now. This is just a gesture. And it's passing, and it's no more real or unreal in this plane right here. It's what's happening. But on this level, that's not even possible. On this level, there is no disconnection. There is no separation. And on this level way up here, it's another view of the world, right? Like it's like almost, if you can picture like the pictures of Earth from space, right? When you see that, you can't see the personalities, right? You can't see the personalities. You see this planet and these beautiful colors and these swirls of different things, these elements, and we have all these words and names for all of that. But what we don't have there are the personalities. Right? We don't see nations in that way. We don't see languages from that space of conscious awareness. We don't see separate cultures. We don't see lineages. We don't see any of those things from that level. But as you get closer to it, then you can start to recognize landscapes as being different. Now we're in different biospheres. That's different. Now we're in different weather patterns. That's different. And you get closer, and then you can't see out of that. I can't see what's happening so far away at the same time. So I'm seeing what's here. I'm seeing tsunami here. Over here, it's blizzard. Over here, it's 72 degrees with 60% relative humidity, and all is good in the world. Then you get closer, and then it's cultures, and then you get closer, and then it's people, and then you get closer, and then it's personalities, and then you get closer, and then it's expectations and dismissals and rejections and acceptances and loves and anger. All of these expressions, the closer you get, the more of these things that are coming up, and then you get even closer, and it's these two souls that are meeting, and then you get even closer than that, and it's just a gesture of spirit. That's it. It's just spirit. But we can't live in that plane only, because we do have these other planes of existence. We have these other ways of interacting. We do have personalities. We do have preferences. We do have boundaries. We do have needs and wants and desires. We do have air. We do have water. We do have earth. We do have fire. And keep coming back. We have all of these different things that are real. Just depends on where we are in proximity in that moment. And I think that the practice for me is finding my proximity to it. Finding out how close I can get to the thing. And do I have space for it? And when I'm feeling really overwhelmed, oftentimes that is the exertion of the egoic me that thinks this is what I should be doing. But when I have the practice, it doesn't change any of those things. It just changes my proximity to it. And I go, are you enough right now? Could you be any less? Could you be any more? Of course not. This is what you are right now. This is where you are right here. And what's required of me in this moment is to breathe into the center of my body. And then to breathe out. To breathe in. And to breathe out. To breathe in. To breathe out. That's all that's required of us in any moment to maintain this proximity to our body. And once I can begin to regulate, to find rhythm, to find flow in that simple thing, breathing in and breathing out. then my ability to move in and out becomes smooth and gentle and easy. And it becomes easier at all levels. Breathing in, breathing out. And as we can move in and out of these levels, it becomes impossible to do anything for others. And this is where it gets very tricky. Because if there are no others, if I'm not externalizing this thing from a separate, isolated individual to some other space, because that doesn't exist, then service requires me to first begin tending to the closest thing in proximity to my heart. Tend to the movement of the blood. Tend to the energies that I am generating from my chest and putting out into the world. Tend to the air and the way that I'm moving it into my body and out. This is the beginning of service. Because offering things is things, but when I can offer presence, when I can offer awareness, when I can offer loving, kind compassion, then I am meeting needs. I'm meeting my needs, I'm meeting your needs. And the things that we need, the resources, that's the next plane. That's easy. It's easy. There's a world full of resources. But it starts in our belief as to who is deserving or undeserving. So we tend to that. We tend to that fear of who may be undeserving, and we tend to that egoic pride as to who is deserving, and we bring breath in and out. And we begin to release ourselves of the need to carry that judgment, who is worthy and who is not. So we bring in unconditional love. That's our breath. Unconditional love comes in, and all of the things that we cannot be served by leave. I cannot serve and judge at the same time. So let's breathe in unconditional love. Let's breathe out judgment. Breathe directly into the center of your being. And when you release, release from your entire self. Remember that rejection is a form of grasping. Rejection is an attachment. It's actually holding on to the thing that you are wanting to push away. But release. Release is letting go of the need to grasp. I can't hold on to all of the air. I can't hold on to every breath that I take. I need to release them. And every time I release, there's another one there. I don't need to focus on scarcity and rejection. I need to release so that I can accept, so that I can release, so that I can accept. I need to breathe. Thanks for joining me this morning on the journey home. Thanks for taking this time to tend to the thing that's closest in proximity to you. Thanks for being with your heart and your breath. And then when you and I come together and we are tending to our hearts and to our breath, then we can be of service. And it's easy. It's easy. Love is easy. It's fear that is the hardest to let go. So breathe in love and breathe out fear. Let it go. And maybe I'll see you in one of those levels. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I would love to hear how your practice is tending to your heart. So if you would like to reach out, you can email me at journeyhomemeditation@gmail.com. You can follow the links to the audio on Spotify to send a message, and you can leave a voice message with me, and I'd love to hear your voice and share your voice with everyone. So please consider giving that opportunity a chance. Thank you, friends. Hariom.